The sphere of international relations is moving fast from traditional diplomacy to the soft power tactics, and we all are a part of this process. Though some of us might find politics as disgraceful and brutal, the fact is that all of us are involved in it. You are the politics. You're the product of it, the user, and the creator. But before I scare you out with this proposal, let me explain the soft diplomacy and what kind of theory and real-life examples lie underneath the statecraft of our everyday living, the soft power. In order to make you understand the concept better, ask yourself, have you ever talked to a person representing another country? Have you ever been abroad? Have you watched foreign movies or read books by foreign authors? Have you admired another country, its politics, or social well-being, based on the conversations with someone you knew from out there? If you answered yes to one of these questions, then you, my friend, have been exposed to soft power. I take pride in talking about this topic, as when I first started researching it during my undergraduate studies, I realized that I'm the most direct and pure example of the product of soft power. Today I'm here as a Fulbright scholar from Kyiv, Ukraine, pursuing my graduate degree in international relations at the Maxwell School of Syracuse University. In fact, I'm a product of soft power myself, because being a scholarship recipient of a number of programs by the European Union, Canada, and the United States, I've experienced multiple cultures and styles of living, paying attention not only to theater, food, or languages, but also to the respective foreign countries' policies and values. I also always remember to bring my soft power, to deliver the image of my country in the co-opting but honest ways. So when I go abroad, I am Ukraine, and I'm how my country is going to be perceived. Now let's see why this is happening. When we speak about international relations, the first thing that comes to our mind is the image of war leaders shaking hands, signing deals and treaties, stopping wars, or discussing aid to refugees. And indeed, this is the classic example of international affairs in one picture. But this is specifically an aspect of the traditional diplomacy in it, the work done by many professionals and foreign officers. There is another approach, however, the soft power of international relations, the everyday actions we, the people, are exposed to, and which affect us today more than we expect. Joseph Nye, the Harvard scholar who coined the idea in the 1990s, identifies soft power as the ability to attract and co-opt. It is an example of peaceful actions undertaken by a government in order to get what it wants through appeal and attraction. Soft power argument became popular due to governments' understanding of the importance to shape other countries' preferences through appeal and attraction as ways of persuasion. According to Nye, countries' soft power rests primarily on three resources: its culture, its political values, and its foreign policies. During the Cold War, hard power tactics, such as economic or military persuasion or political aggression, became an unpopular idea in the country's agenda, because it could possibly mean its aggressive and threatening behavior in the world, averting itself from the true democratic values. The international community has undergone a tremendous change in the latest decades. For centuries, only state officials had an exclusive power to shape the international relations. In the past, the one-on-one communication between us, individuals from various countries, was limited due to lack of technologies, traveling, long distances, and stricter border crossings. So what is happening today? The traditional international affairs are still conducted by the respective governmental bodies of various countries. Apart from interactions between embassies and diplomats, governments engage in the creation of cultural programs, student exchanges, and cross-national visits. It is not merely about state officials who form the country's international agenda. Today, the other key actors are individuals from various countries, non-governmental organizations, media outlets, and diaspora or immigrant communities. Experiencing the influences of foreign cultures, histories, perspectives widens our outlook of the world and the way we perceive peace worldwide. An example is the academic environment, where the foreign students provide the American students with a better understanding of the world beyond the US borders, and vice versa. Yet the idea is not as trivial and simple as it seems. Sometimes an exchange year spent abroad can be a nightmare, or the personal characteristics of the fellow foreign colleague are definitely not appealing and rather repulsive. One can argue that the individual level of connections is not enough to stop wars. On this counter-argument side, it is true, soft power is hard to be measured. Therefore, the calculations are going to be less predictable and less visible than solid figures such as seen in economic or military powers. Soft power argument implicitly assumes that the government benefits from the attractiveness of its culture, society, language. But what happens when policies of one's country's government are in conflict with what makes the society attractive? For example, some may be extremely fond and in awe of Russian literature, cuisine, ballet, but how Russian government acts beyond its borders and what foreign policies it imposes strikes the world peace with an unseen brutality and fear. NICE stresses that soft power sources are culture, political values, and foreign policies. Therefore, the challenge today lies in the separation of influence people may have towards communicating with foreigners while remembering the respective foreign countries' policies and values. It is still extremely important to pay attention to human interactions and behaviors, which, if established sufficiently, can be used as a respective force complementing or reorganizing government's activity abroad. In fact, as a very proud representative of Ukraine, I'm grateful for the opportunities to experience the world and foreign cultures. I always remember the necessity of exposing my soft power, delivering the image of my country in the co-opting but honest way. For some states, such soft power delivery is especially needed in its international affairs. For example, we, the Ukrainians, are still fighting the proxy war against our independence and sovereignty, which takes lives of our people every day. The peace in international relations lies in the overall attraction we feel and express toward other countries. We achieve this through power of persuasion while communicating with foreigners, watching foreign media, researching art and history, traveling, and mainly making foreign friends. However, one must remember, the peace holds on to not only culture or social attractiveness of a country or a person who represents it. In fact, the real soft power is inevitably attached to the respective foreign countries' policies and values. Only these aspects can actually bring peace and prosperity worldwide. If we accept the idea that not only governments take part in the international communications, then we will understand the real implications of cultural affection. This, in turn, will see a positive change in the world of international affairs. Meeting someone who will introduce you to the new ways of experiencing the world might change your life in the most extraordinary ways. So if you have been afraid of interacting with that one colleague or classmate from abroad, introduce yourself to him or her. Perhaps your stories and eventual friendship will change you and your lives in the most marvelous ways. This is where the real art of soft power lies. After all, we are the citizens of the globe, and the world peace today is important more than ever. Thank you.